Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome to Phase 1, the show where we look at pre-release content. Today we're going to be looking at Hollow Knight. So, this is a game that was kickstarted a while back by Team Cherry. This is going to be their first game, and my god, what a first game this is going to be. This is the sneak peek preview build. This is available for certain backers, people who pre-ordered the game for $45 on the site, or for people who bought the February Humble Monthly Bundle. So what is it? Well, it's a Metroidvania-style platform with Dark Souls mechanics. And you might be thinking, if you're particularly cynical like I was, oh boy, a Dark Souls inspired game. Guess that means you're just going to be dying a lot all the time, and it's not going to be very fun because no one seems to understand what made Dark Souls fun and challenging as a game. And I'm glad to be wrong about this because this game not only manages to be fairly original in its own right despite having some of its inspirations on its sleeve, it also manages to be a pretty fair platformer, considering that it's drawing a lot from Dark Souls mechanics. So what are some of the mechanics that it nicks from Dark Souls? Well, for starters, enemies don't respawn until you die or go to what's called a bench in this game, which is kind of like your bonfire, which is this checkpoint. Now, if you were to quit the game at any time, you actually start at the bench no matter what. It doesn't save you by the footstep like Dark Souls does. So you gotta watch out for that, but you do start at the bench with all your money, so it's not like you have to save or else you lose all your progress. It's, you can just quit at any time and you'll have all the stuff on you, which is really nice. It feels like Dark Souls, but without the dickishness of Dark Souls. So, your inventory system, when you open that up, or if you check your map, the game is still going. So you can still get attacked, but you can still pause the game by hitting select. It's just that your in-game items that you're trying to access, that's the only thing that'll keep the game going. You can, of course, pause it at any time. So I like that. The other thing is that there doesn't seem to be a lot of annoying traps or enemies that, like, one-shot you, so far at least, that are, beginner's traps. The game is fairly well balanced considering, and I'm really starting to dig it. So let's talk about combat for a second. So you have this cute little pin, this little nail, and you swing it like that, and you have multiple ways to attack with it, and you have this nice long arc. And what's nice is that the hit detection is pretty good, feels solid. It's got this little shake to it to the screen when you hit something, and it just feels so satisfying. Now, you think at the beginning, giving you only one weapon to kind of swing around for a couple hours is a little repetitive, but I gotta say, the combat itself, the act of hitting things, is fairly fun, and there are some enemy types that, get you a little creative with that. So some flying enemies, and of course this one enemy type, if we can find him over here. I think he's just this way. He can do a lot of damage, he's pretty big, but he has telegraphed attacks, so much like Dark Souls. And he's fairly easy to dodge, but it's really tense of hit and run, like, poke and run, going back and forth, and that can get intense when you kind of screw up at one point during one of your jumps or one of your attacks, and it's just like, oh god, it's like that tense feeling in your balls when you miss something and someone's about to hit you right back. Okay, here we go. Animation quality in this game is pretty stellar, I gotta say. The art style reminds me of something from a Tim Burton movie, like The Nightmare Before Christmas, but it's like this cutesy yet bleak atmospheric world, and I'm super, super digging that a lot. Music is really good, and the ambient sound design is amazing in this game. So you notice from that boss, he dropped a lot of stuff, and that's actually currency. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the shop on the surface, and we're going to spend our hard-earned cash on some cool items. So one of the things you can buy in this game is map components, so that you can keep track of where everything is on your map. So it's not like, as soon as you get the map, everything is well revealed and you know what you're doing. No, actually, you don't even know where you are on the map when you first get it. You need to get a compass, and you need to actually equip it on this little charm system that they have over here. The wayward compass. You equip it over here, and you can actually see yourself on the map, but it actually takes up a spot. So it's interesting how they're doing some of the item systems in this game where you can only have a couple equipped at a time. The game has no RPG elements so far. Well, it has a few, but they're not really related to like leveling up. So what I find interesting about this game, going back to it not being a major dick to you, is, and I'm not knocking Dark Souls. I absolutely love Dark Souls, but the dick mechanics in that game can be a little frustrating. A lot of people feel that, especially dying and losing everything. So let's purchase something here. To help mark shopkeepers, interesting bugs in your travel. There's plenty of NPCs in this game. Some of them are kind of weird. The story of the game is pretty vague. It's more like environmental storytelling, much like Dark Souls. I'm saying Dark Souls a lot and saying like, oh, it's its own original game. It is. It's just, it's kind of hard to talk about this game without referencing Dark Souls. Alright, so let's look here. Useful exhaustion, just need to find... Okay, so mark up some benches. Yeah, we can use that. Let's just get everything, really. Cocoons. Yeah, these are these little things that you save in the game. I believe that's what they are. It's like these little caterpillar-looking things. Hot springs. Oh, can't get any more. Okay, whatever. Her husband was down below. You had to actually talk to him first. He gives you a map for free, which is what I'm using here. Taking damage or falling will disable the map, so it's kind of a nice little detail. But anyway, going back to the death mechanic in Dark Souls. So let's actually kill ourselves right here, because I kind of want to show you guys. Did we save? I don't think we saved at the bench. Shoot. Alright, it's going to be a long haul. It's fine. I know where this is. Okay, do this. There's a little animation here. It'll show this little apparition coming from your corpse. Alright, that's fine. Here we are. Okay, so if you go back to these benches, everything respawns, or if you die, everything respawns because, you start at the bench. You can heal yourself by collecting energy from defeated minions. See that little cracked orb at the top left there? You can fill that up via, I guess you can call them souls. And if you hit B, you'll do this Super Saiyan pose, and you'll heal back up. So when you die, you obviously lose all your money. Now, what's nice is that, unlike in Dark Souls, this is not an RPG, so you don't lose what's considered to be your currency for buying items and your experience points. It's just for buying items. So I really like that a lot, in that in Dark Souls that was incredibly frustrating. Here, it's not too big of a deal. The only issue I can see is that in the late game, that being an issue where you have items that you can buy that are needed to progress or that are really needed for quality of life assurance, but you cannot get them because you have to grind a lot and you might die a lot and then you gotta grind again. It could be really tedious and frustrating in that regard. Dark Souls didn't have that problem because you can beat a lot of bosses in that game fairly easily, and you could actually beat the whole game without even leveling up. There's a lot of optional bosses, a lot of enemies that drop a lot of souls, so there were moments where you did have to grind if you were a first-timer, but you didn't have to grind too much. And that was for the RPG aspect, so it's not even counting the items you might need and some of the materials you might need to upgrade your weapons. Here it's fairly straightforward. It's just all for currency. There's no RPG elements. So some people might be disappointed that it's like a Dark Souls game, but it doesn't have the RPG progression system, but I'm totally comfortable with that. It's doing what it's doing very well, which is a solid Metroidvania platformer. It's absolutely dripping with atmosphere. There's a lot of environmental detail. And what's nice is that I almost rarely get lost in this game because of how it's all designed. It doesn't all feel the same. Not every corridor is going to be the same. I haven't gotten too far, obviously, because, again, it is a preview build, and I kind of want to wait to see what happens in the final build. But so far, I'm really enjoying my time spent with it. Hold on, we need to go Super Saiyan 2. There we go. And I am interested in seeing the magic system, how that's working out when it's relating to your souls. But anyway, I am having an absolute blast, and I cannot wait for the final game. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much for watching. I'm out.